Hey, I'm Eric Haugen. Here's my website, my Patreon, my Instagram. Like my videos and subscribe to my channel if this content is entertaining for you. Today I have a toy, a tool, a wonderful, wonderful thing, the Supro 64. I can't be stopped buying 5-watt amps. Thank you, Supro, for giving me a price break on this. I like to disclose that. For those of you who follow my channel, know that I recently picked up the Fender VibroChamp. Oh, I think you can actually see it. Oh, God. Okay, I'm not, oh, man, pull it back out. There it is. Another great 5-watt amp. I've always been curious about the Supro thing. And so that amp enabled this amp. All right, we don't need to talk about how this thing looks because it looks beautiful. The product design on these things, mwah. I'm not going to pull up pictures of the top panel, but even just looking at the top panel, it's gorgeous. We're going to talk about the sound and the feel of this amplifier. I'm in a bridge pickup Telecaster. The amp is dimed, by the way. You can see I got my Weber Mini Mass attenuator running to see what this thing sounds like dimed, which I think sounds very good. So I'm actually, interestingly enough, yeah, I'm in the low input because I feel like it's a little, with this Telecaster and the bridge pickup, it's a little bit smoother. That's my TC Electronic flashback delay set in the dynamic delay mode. Let's talk about what I think is unique about this amp. I think, you know, it has like no knobs. You have input choices, high and low, and a volume knob, which, what a fun thing. Now me, hi, look at me, look at how I dress, look at my beard. I like really simple, vintage, retro style things. You know, if I could have a car that didn't have electronic windows, I would, etc. And so I love amps where the decisions have been made for you. Internally, they're like, here's the tone you have. Deal with it. I'm sure people have modded these out, but it's kind of like, hey, do you like your guitar? Do you like your pickups? Do you have knobs that work well? There you go. And I think the thing that they're going for, which I do think they have achieved, is very, very smooth transition from clean to breakup, supreme control with your fingers and your knobs and your pick. Here, let's go major pentatonic. You know, people will say, oh, turn your volume knob down to get clean. Actually, I've never really liked that sound. You know, your mileage may vary. I always feel like it, like, you know, I don't have trebles, bleeds in this. It is good wiring and everything. It always feels like anemic to me when you do that. Like, it's fine, it's clean, but it's not actually a good clean. I'd rather just play softer. Or set the amp clean, but that's me, that's how I play. Everybody's allowed to play their own way. But I do love the very smooth transition. I'm obsessed with this pedal lately. uh-oh. Okay, well, detour, let's see how it sounds like with an octave fuzz since I started playing Purple Haze. Do I remember it? No. Phaser 2. Okay, let's turn it off, because I mean, you don't buy a Supro to pile pedals on it. You buy a Supro because you want to hear that. Don't tell me. There's a very butchered version of Paul McCartney's Jet. Now, did I talk about stuff? I don't use the volume knob. I'm going back and forth with bridge and neck pickups. Now, yes, I am using an attenuator in here. I think that, one of the best sounds you could probably get out of this amp would be if you had a recording studio and you could put this thing in another room and just dime it and let the guitar player just, do his thing or her thing in the other room. In this apartment, to protect my ears. By the way, you should protect your ears and wear earplugs you don't want ringing in your ears like I have. I'll have it for the rest of my life. All right, full detour. I think people are really bad role models about play loud. I see people doing amp demos where they're not, they're just, it sounds really good if you take it up to 7. And you're like, dude, 7 is a small number, but that's not communicating the actual dB that are coming out of the amp. Just like 5 watts is a small number, and that's not indicating the actual dB coming out of the amp. This is probably at about, I measured it earlier, this is getting close to 90 dB in this room, even with an attenuator. So, I highly recommend if you're going to listen to loud music or gig or anything like that, I have the fancy, you can't see these, the fancy musicians custom plugs. It cost me like 250 bucks. That's not that expensive considering how much we spend on pedals. The thing is, you don't have to spend that much as long as, hold on, the earplug has like a filter. I think you can see that. You're going to be all right. It's so much better than the foam earplugs that we're used to. That we're like, yeah, those sound like crap. Well, yeah, they do. And yes, this doesn't sound as good as no earplugs, but is that annoying? Imagine that the rest of your life. You don't want this. So that's my little detour about protect your ears. And that's why I'm using an attenuator in here. Now, let's also, so we can agree, this has a really great smooth transition from clean to crunch just by digging in with your hand, which is so cool. And what was I going to say? Oh, this is the non-reverb model. The reverb you're hearing I put on in post. I always put on a little bit of Valhalla vintage verb in post because that's just what I do. So sonically, I think you can hear this thing has very good sustain, very good fatness compared to, if I was going to compare it to the Vibrochamp, which I just demoed, and I love that amp too. Spoiler alert, all amps are good. Once you spend upwards of $500 on a tube amp, you're going to have something that's going to sound good. You just got to find your settings. Some amps are easier to dial in than others. And this one's very easy to dial in because there's nothing to dial. And then Yeah, I think that's the difference. If I was going to compare the two, you can click back on my channel and watch that demo. Both of them have good crunch. The Vibrochamp's a little bit raspier, a little bit rattier, and not quite as fat. Whereas this is, again, it sounds bigger than it looks. Which is, yeah, I mean, that's due to the cab construction, which I probably am going to make a video about that. Cab resonance is a big deal about why some amps sound better than others. Now though, watch out, I'm going to pause and go grab my Stratocaster and switch this thing out to hear what the clean tone sounds like. Because, you know, we don't play crunch all the time. Take a sip of your coffee, water, beer, tea. All right, well, hold on. Here we go. There's the clean tone, which is good also. Definitely more, I won't say dark, but more mid-rangey than if I was going to compare to other amps I have, or other amps in the same price range and category, the Vibrochamp. So now we are in the high input. The attenuator is bypassed, so this is just the amp, oh, not quite halfway up. And it sounds very good. We're in the neck pickup here. Let's play some Shuggy Otis. Have the bar sitting where I want it. Darn. Effects. All right, that's covering the sound, but even, oh, here, let's put it in Knopfler setting. What's the next part of the song? Great chord. I don't remember the next part. Yeah, at first when I only got this amp a couple of days ago, I was like, oh, the clean tone's okay. And now I'm like, no, the clean tone is really good too. And that's actually, that's kind of talking about last week's lesson. That's a little Mixolydian, you know, I'm playing A major to E minor, which is a Mixolydian change. Do I have a conclusion to make? Okay, the main conclusion is I love amps. I love guitars. I have genuine, stupid affection for inanimate objects when it comes to guitars and amplifiers. Like, I talk to them like they're family pets. Like, you know, when the cameras are off, you guys have no idea. I like walk around my place here. I'm like, hey guys, how you doing today? You good? So welcome to the family, Supro. You'll be seeing that in some more videos for sure, because it's a good amp. I don't feel the need to rate things above each other. You know, we're obsessed with which one is the best, who's the worst, blah blah blah, lizard brain nonsense. It doesn't matter. They're all good. Like I said, if you spend a little bit of money, you know, obviously these are $750. I'm you know, because I'm YouTube famous, ha ha ha, I didn't have to pay that much for it. I can't tell you if that's worth it for you or not, but I can tell you it has good sustain, good fatness, really good transition from clean to dirty. I do recommend having an attenuator so you could experience that without damaging your hearing. And yes, I'll leave it at that for today. I think the little note I said, let me buy the amps so you don't have to. But you might want to. As in, let me satisfy your curiosity. That's what I'm here for. Curiosity about guitar playing, curiosity about guitar tone, armchair philosophies. Oh, isn't that a... Arthur Lee, Love Forever Changes the Daily Planet. I don't know the rest of that song. I'll leave it at that for this week. For those of you who follow my channel and support me, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. What's coming up next week? We're going to talk about the Lydian mode, which is actually a sneakily cool mode. And yeah, as Bill and Ted would say, be excellent to each other. That includes yourself too. And I'll see you later once I do all this stuff. And grab that and spin around here. Oh, and hit that and go this way and walk over here and turn off this camera and then walk over here and turn off that one.